You would best. I appreciate the input. So maybe next time I'll put some music on for everyone as well. I haven't got that set up this time around. Okay, there's 7 of us. We might as well get started. 2 things that are different from last time. One, you should be able to see all of me this time. And second of all, I have a red armband on. Because of the way camera phones and cameras work on Zoom and whatever, there's a chance that things get flipped about. The red armbanded hand is the right. So if you're following along, this is my right hand. That might help for mirroring and just seeing what's going on and having a better understanding of what I'm talking about.
I know.
All right. Can we hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we are going to start with a grip so that our back of our palms, or our palms rather, are facing us. And then you don't want to go all the way out and be a little bit inside. And from here, we're just going to go up, push, behind the back, up to the middle and down. So to the chest, of the head, behind the shoulder, and up and down again. Number 3. We're doing 10 reps, generally speaking, but if that's too much for you, please don't worry about it. Just do whatever you're capable of. I can't see any of you, so no harm, no foul, okay? Just do what works for you. I'm pretty tired, so I'm not sure I'll be able to manage 10 with the 10-pound stick today with everything in there. Also, I notoriously can't count reps, so I think this is 10. Okay, from here, we're going to loosen up a little bit to keep your knees soft. Put the stick behind you, this time with both of your palms facing forward. And the stick should come off the body. And you're just, with nice soft knees, gently rotating so that your arms are not touching your body. If you want to, feel free to move a little more vigorously. Just keep in mind that you're not trying to swing out of your joints and you're trying to keep the bar off the body. So your arms should stay nice and controlled. Your core should be engaged. And this should be activating stabilizer muscles. While we're back here, take your grip so your hands are a little bit inside your hips and your palms are facing back. And without letting the bar touch the body, bring them up. In all of these exercises that we're doing, the aim is control, not explosivity. We just want to get good movement. So same as we did behind us, now with hands and facing forward, or palms facing us if we're down. Do that same rotation. Just remember to keep your arms indexed to your chest. You don't want them flying around too much. And get that rotation without the bar touching you. And keep soft knees. You don't want to add any shear across the knees unnecessarily. If you feel like letting your feet come up a little bit, like we do in the warm-up in class, for some of our exercises, feel free. And good rotation. If you feel your back loosening up, feel free to add a little more rotation. And if you generally have a tense back, you may even feel your spine crack a little when you do this. Don't worry, just don't go too hard. Okay. I want you to take your right hand about a third of the way up, and your left hand on the end, and then just push straight up, trying to keep the bar from wobbling, and keep the bar nice and straight as we go up. Keep your core engaged, keep your back engaged. And you've done the one side, switch your hands. The hand on the bar will be facing palm away, and the hand in the middle of the bar will be facing palm towards you as you're up like this. So again, just push up. Now keep in mind, the speed I'm going is the speed that I'm comfortable at. You go at your own speed. Don't worry about what I'm doing. If I'm going too fast, this is why I'm giving a little chat here so you can catch up. Take our bar, grab it in the middle, hands on opposite sides. And then rotate wrists. The aim is not to let your body hold on to the bar for you, but to be out in front of yourself roughly shoulder height. When you've done that, switch your handhold and do it again. When you've done that, take your left hand, put it at the bottom so that your hand would be facing backwards. Keep your right hand sort of in the middle. Keep your left hand in front of you. And with some body rotation, use your right hand and shoulders to bring the bar across to your left. The purpose of the left hand here is just positioning. It's not really doing much else. When you've done that, switch and do from the other side. So the hand should be held here when you're doing this. Should not be resting on the body. It should be out. Nice controlled, slow motions. You all doing okay? Okay. And loosen the shoulders up a little bit more. I want you to take the bar with whichever hand you want. It's the right above the left for now. Hold it here like you would a baseball bat. Drop it behind yourself. And again, without anything touching, keeping your core stable. Just get a pendulum going. This should be coming from your wrists and not from the rest of you. Rest of you should be relatively stationary. When you've done that, switch your hands. You want to put the left above the right. We'll do the same thing. Okay, we're going to try something that we didn't do last time. And this is in part a grip strength exercise and in part small motions and a little bit more explosive. So with your left hand on top, with the bar in front of you, we're going to throw the bar up by just moving our hands to about shoulder height and then catching it and bringing the bar further and further up. Go as far as your ceiling allows. So I'm an inch away from hitting my ceiling. Now, I want you to drop the bar and catch it. Let it slowly come down. Now, if you have a very light bar, you may not feel this that much, but if you have a nice heavy bar the way I do, or it feels heavy to you, you should feel some of that right here, and perhaps also in your forearms. Once you've brought it down, bring it back up. And let it back down. And one more time up. You want to play a little game with yourself. See how few you can do to get it up, and then how many you can do continuously to get it back down. And one more time up. And back down. Now switch hands. Do it again. Let's do this 3 times. As with most of these exercises, you don't want to be resting on your body. So if we're going up, you should be not on your body, you should be right off of it. We're now going to do the same thing, but driving this slightly differently. I want you to hold this so your hands or thumb is down. And now you'll take it up in the exact same way. And it's probably a little harder. Just let it back down. Okay. Does that make sense to everyone, I hope? Same idea. Engage your core and your back, and it should engage a bunch of your stabilizer muscles and get the different rotations around the shoulders and stuff. So again, from here. If you're having a grip strength issue, obviously just only go so far as you can. We'll do 3 of these on this with the left hand on top and 3 with the right. Okay. If you shake anything out, feel free to. And now switch your other hand on top, but obviously with the thumb facing down. Sometimes this isn't even a strength issue as much as a coordination issue. That's okay as well. Also try not to put a hole in your ceiling. Okay. All right, everyone, take 2-3 minutes to grab some water and then we'll be right back. So if we're all back, I want you to grip behind yourself like this. Your right hand is facing forward. Your left is facing back. And from here, you're going to pull on the right hand side, pull upwards, and on your left hand side, push and drive through. And you're going to try to raise the right side as far as possible. Going here. This one is allowed to be done with a little bit of a swing. Try to keep your right arm straight as you do this. You will obviously have to bend the left. For the more flexible amongst us, the ideal is that this hand that's going behind the back is visible outside the front. Obviously, depending on your flexibility and your size, that is or is not feasible. Okay. And I want you to switch your grip. With now your right hand facing back and your left hand facing forward, and do it again. Coming back to the front, grab the stick on your right side, more or less in the middle, and then just raise your right hand straight. Bring your right hand up from the front without bending it. Again, reps are up to you. Trying for 10. If at the end of this, you've done 10 for everything and you're not feeling it, that's when you know you need to get another bar that's a little bit heavier. All right. Yes, cricket's running around. My little cat. If I'm about to step on her or something, let me know. Okay, we're going to do a series now that works a lot of the same stuff all together. And so it kind of sucks to do them as we go, but that is kind of the point. We're going to do 3 or 4 reps of each of these. And so when you're doing this on your own, do as many as you like, or choose the one that you find the most difficult and work on that. This is called Walzen in German, not to do with a waltz as much as it does to do with a steamroller. I want you to imagine you have a big oil drum in front of you, and on one of the edges, or on sort of the rim side, you have something that you're turning. So like if you had like a tombola wheel, so you're not turning from the center, you're turning from the outside edge. Okay. So grab the bar so your knuckles are facing outwards or forwards. And then at chest height, you're going to turn that circle. Again, you don't want it to touch the body. You want to be relatively even in front of yourself and nice and easy with those rotations. Okay, this isn't speed, it is about keeping it correctly. Now, if we can do it forwards, you can do it backwards. So now rotate in the reverse direction. Now, even if you think 5 or 6 of that is not a lot, be aware we'll be doing 3 different versions of each of these. Now that we've done it standing straight, I want you to take a slightly wider stance, hinge at the hip, keep your back nice and neutral. And now again, still do it forwards in front of your chest. It'll just be pointing down now. And again, if we can do it one way, we can do it the reverse. How much lean is up to you and your back. Okay, we've done it downwards, we can do it upwards. We're still going to hip hinge, but we're going to use our knees as well. So you want to bend at your knees, push your, tilt your hip forward. Well, tilt your tailbone forward, like you're tucking your tail between your legs, and then lean back, again, keeping your back neutral, doing this upwards. And if you can do it one way, you can do it the other. Now we're kind of just rolling through that for today because that can be a lot and I don't want to go too far. What we can add to this is the same set. We'll only do this set upright, but all the modifications count as if there was a handle on the right and on the left, but they were offset by halfway around the barrel. So instead of holding it here, you're here. And now we're rowing. Now, as per usual, you can do it one way You can do it in reverse as well. Try not to lose the nice big circles. Okay. I'm going to stop that there. You can do that leaning forward and leaning back as well, but I don't want to do too much of that all at once. But those are the options that you have. I want to do something, just start engaging our legs a little bit before we just do the leg thing. So I want you, depending on the height of your ceiling, you may be able to grip right at the bottom, or you may have to grip more here. That also changes how much exercise this is. So again, with either hand at the top of the bottom, let's go right on the bottom for now. I want you from here to, as you sink down into a squat, put the stick behind you and then come up down the middle as if you're striking. Now, keep your balance. Try to stay on your heels. Your stance as wide or right underneath you. Your toes pointed out somewhat. And remember, you're going down from the hips like you're sitting down and pushing through the hips as well. Okay, if you're not doing a full dip squat, that's fine. The balance is a little different here. When you've done 10, switch hands. Do it again. Okay. How are we all feeling? Thoughts, feelings, emotional outbursts? We all good? All right. Now, bar behind you. In this position, your hands should be facing forward. And you want to go all the way to one side. And then, without the bar resting on the neck, shoot it over to the other side. This should be a little more explosive. Okay, this is a somewhat weird one, but bear with me. With the bar on your back like this, and you want it resting below the vertebra, sort of on the traps, same place you would if you had a bar and you were doing any other bar related exercise, squats or whatever. From here, I want you to bring your right side of the bar towards the left knee. Just as comfortably as far as you can go. And then obviously on the other side. You're only going as far as that arm going down requires you. This is not depth, this is obliques. So you're not really trying to crunch down with your legs. You're just kind of coming forward. The ideal is to come up between And so if you can make that a smooth motion, good. If not, feel free to do it in pieces and pause at neutral. Okay, another 15. So 3-minute water break, and then we will return and do some legs. Let's keep going, and we're going to do bottom half work now. Before we do that, I do want us to just get warmed up through here a little bit, like we do at the club. So a little bit wider than hip width apart with your feet. Soft knees, go up on one foot. And by making circles with your knees, roll your knee and your ankle through a little bit. Just get the joint moving. Switch direction. Just make sure your knee and your ankle feel okay. If they don't, then you know what to look at for while you're doing these exercises and what you maybe need to pay more attention to otherwise. Switch sides. Switch direction. This warm up also works as a very good beginner's exercise for doing a stanky leg. I hope you're all laughing and turning me. Obviously, I can't hear you. Okay, find your stance again, a little bit wider than hip width apart, and roll through your hips a little. Switch direction. All right. Take a slightly wider stance. You want to be a little bit outside of your own hips, and you want soft knees. Don't bend your knees deep, just stay not locked out. Then take the staff above the head, and as you lean to one side, bring the staff to the other side. This is not that different from our class warm-up, but we're leaning and we're driving this action from the hip rather than from the extended leg to push that hip through, bend your knees, and you come out. Your feet should be not perfectly straightforward, should be a little bit back. Keep your arms nice and straight. If this feels comfortable, feel free to be a little bit more dynamic and not stop in the middle. But again, if you want to come up before you go down and stop in this neutral position, feel free. It only go as deep as your knee and ankle allows. Because we're not got our knees pointing out, we can only go so far. Okay. Now, if you have particularly sticky shoes or are barefoot or on a sticky floor or whatever, we want an in between here for stickiness versus not. We keep our feet directly under our hips. Have something in front of you to balance on if you like. And then by winding both of our feet outwards to a sort of 10-10 if we're on a clock, and then going out with our heels, we're just going to walk ourselves out. Now, don't go so far as to be stuck. You will have to, with reversing that action, bring yourself back up. As you're find some flexibility on the inner thigh, and you figure out how your knees feel, your ankles feel about this, you may be able to go deeper. Let's do it again. Just walk yourself out. You don't want to, again, lock your knees. And then walk yourself back up. If you have ACL or PCL issues, or even MCL, this is not a good exercise to go too deep on if they're hurting. This type of rotational shear around the knee is exactly what hurts when you have those injuries. So be kind to yourself. My personal motivation with this exercise is eventually to be able to, on a dance floor, go down all the way and then just by pulling my legs together, go all the way back up. I had a dance teacher who could do it. I've been wanting to be able to do it ever since. Also, you want to try not to lean too far forward or too far back when you do this exercise. One more time. See if you can't go just a little further this time. And feel that stretch on the inside of your thigh. So for a lot of people, myself included, that particular stretch outwards is often not a flexibility issue, it's a strength issue. A lot of us are a little more flexible in that split than we give ourselves credit for. So stick out on the right side where you can comfortably hold on to it, or hold on to it however you need. You're gonna put all your weight on your right leg, and then we're gonna bring our leg forward, in, diagonally out, in, to the side, diagonally back, and straight back. Now, ideally, if you have good balance, you can do it without the stick, but if you need the stick for balance, go for it. So, forward, diagonal, side, diagonal back, straight back. Okay, try not to do too much wobbling. I know I do it still. And try, if you can, not to put your foot down between directions. So we're forward, diagonal, side, diagonal, back, without putting your foot down. We'll do 5 of each. And again, you don't want to be swinging too much. You want to have controlled action. Now you'll notice I'm also not pointing my toe, pulling my toe up. Try to feel your weight on your whole foot. As soon as you start to feel it roll around the outside or on the inside, it's when you're gonna lose your balance. So switch to the other leg. We'll see how much of this can do. My sciatica is acting up. Find your balance on your left foot. And go ahead. Again, we're trying to keep a straightish leg here. The one that's moving. I don't feel the need to lock it, but we're not trying to do this bent. You'll notice probably that one of your legs is better balanced than the other. That's pretty standard. Do what you can. We're here to build up those skills. as much as we are the muscle. About mobility, flexibility, balance, full range of motion, all that jazz. Modify as needed if I give you modifications, but if you need your own modifications, feel free to do that. When you're done here, stretch your legs out a little bit. And if we have the staff, feel free to stretch your quad here a little bit by reaching around and grabbing your foot. If you guys want, at some point, I'll walk through some stretches that you can do at home as well. You've heard me say in class that static stretching right before exercise is not ideal because it has a tendency to strength weaken the things that we're actually trying to work with. So stretching should also be done regularly outside of a class setup. So I want you to now lift your leg straight up, but drive it from the knee so that your leg remains bent. Okay, switch leg, same idea, come up with the knee. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna bring the knee up. We're gonna set it down 45 degrees away. Okay, so up, open, down, and then bring it back. Try not to lock out the knee that isn't moving. Okay, switch sides. Okay, going back to your other side. We're now going to lift the knee and go as far out as we can, hoping to go sideways. Right? So before we're going sort of 45 degrees, I'm going to open as wide as possible and step out. If you have angry hips and they're popping, do this gently and do it controlled. I'm not a doctor, or at least not that kind. So keep in mind that this is based off of my personal experience and not on any sort of medical stuff. And normally a lot of popping is caused by a loosening after things got really tight. So if it doesn't hurt, move through it. If nothing's catching, move through it. If it's cracking, just cracking, that's usually not that big a deal. However, if it hurts or if it feels like it's catching, by catching I mean you get to one part and you kind of have to push through the crack, don't do it. Do a gentler version. Lift less high. Don't go as far out. This is where we're aiming. If this is where you're at, that's okay. But if you're coming to my saber classes regularly, this should be helpful for that as well. Okay, switch sides. And if it is catching in the hips, then you should really do some hip flexor stretches at some point. And I'll put together a video on that eventually. Again, we want to make this a smooth action. But if you're working through some stuff and you just want to see what's going on, raise it, turn it down. Okay, and do it less if you need that modification. And you want to keep your upper body reasonably still while you're doing this until you bring the foot down. Feel free to go with it. You'll notice that if I leave my upper body straight, I can come down on my toe, and that'll keep me from moving too much here. If I come down fully, I will go with it. These are all valid. Just do what works for you. And that, my friends, is where we're going to leave it. If you're all willing to hop on your microphones and talk with me, that would be fantastic. But that is the end of the sort of class portion of all that.
This is fun.
Good. Good.
My cat is very confused, though.
Yes, that happens. So is mine. Where we're going to go with some of this at some point is we're working through an 1863 German exercise manual / gymnastics, calisthenics, and we will continue to work through it. I'm hoping to bring some tachtib into this, that's Egyptian baton fencing, and also maybe some exercises from German and French baton fencing, which are quite difficult with such a heavy stick. The batons they were using were maybe a pound or two of nice wood, or we're using something significantly heavier. And we'll do that. So tachtib has a 13-point kata that goes through all its exercises, and doing that in a controlled fashion, where the heavy stick is quite the shoulder and core workout and back. So we might be doing some of that. This was recorded, so I will post this probably to the NKDF YouTube, not my YouTube. And then you'll be able to come back to this anytime you like. Each day we do this, we'll have mostly the same stuff, but there'll be one or two things that I change up, and I'll play around with the order as well as we get used to it. Any questions, thoughts, feelings, emotional outbursts?
Oh, this is great.
I'm glad. Bess, does this meet your everything is bar but with a stick?
It really does. When I did the leg exercises like a little too fast at the end there. So I was like, oh good, I can get in like a set of back attitude. This totally fits.
Well, that one part seemed like ballet, right? Where with the front diagonal. Isn't that ballet?
That was straight and down.
Yes, but
Yeah.
in the end, there's only so many standing up exercises you can do that open your hips.
Yeah,
Um,
makes sense.
and whether that came from one or the other first is probably a futile exercise. John, did you say something about more hip exercises?
Something.
Huh?
Somebody was talking about their hips popping.
Yeah.
My first question when you hear that is, does it feel like a tendon is rolling over something and getting more and more angry every time you do it?
I definitely got that myself.
If it feels like a tendon, then it's likely, at least from my wheelhouse, which is not quite PT, but kind of adjacent, is likely that you're using your psoas, which is a leg muscle that attaches to your spine, to pull both your hips and your leg bones. So tilt your hips back. By that I mean raise your pubic symphysis, your bathing suit area up, and try it again, but try it politely, because you're tensing up your lower abs making them kind of rigid. It's kind of artificial. So be really kind when you're doing the movement because you got a lot of rigid kind of artificial going on. And that may allow you to feel where you're using the leg portion more than the lower ab portion and do a lot more movement without having that obnoxious pop every time you go across.
For those of you who don't know John and Caroline run the club up in Bloomsburg, the Klappies, the Kopfechter. John is a movement expert and does that kind of stuff with folks. So listen to what John and Caroline have to say. Hi, Caroline. As much as you also listen to your own doctor if it does actually hurt quite a bit. Seek medical attention if this is painful. And medical attention should be a PT, a doctor, or an OT. They're all good sources of information. I've run this past a PT over the weekend because my mom was in town. So it at least has that PT seal of, yes, this is a reasonable thing to be doing, not mid-19th century nonsense. So anyone else, thoughts, feelings? Matt, did you have something to add? I can't hear you, Matt.
You're muted.
How about now?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, Zoom was defaulting to the wrong mic. Thanks for that advice, John. I'll try that out right after here. And one of my partners who is a PT is coming over later, so I'll get some
There you go.
adjustments. Yeah, thanks for that. I do have one suggestion / request regarding this course. If possible, could we get like a MKDF YouTube channel in the Discord, and just whenever for any course we post a new video to the YouTube, just have it upload there? Well,
That is the
upload.
plan.
Thank
That
you.
is the plan. I've never used the MKDF YouTube. I need to figure out who has the password. It's almost certainly Jess, but we've used it for some of the pandemic stuff we did. So I will hopefully be putting that all up there as I get these recordings sorted out.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, and that'll also go on the Discord. All right, that's 7:01. Thank you all for coming. I
Thank you.
appreciate the turnout.
Thank you.
And I will see some of you on Thursday for Sabre, and I will see the rest of you Monday for class or next Tuesday for this again. I'll have a good night.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
No problem.